If your husband is a duke and he's set on killing you, is there any way you can escape? Hello everyone, welcome to Harry's Book Cafe. Today we're going to do a book review of Maggie O'Farrell's A Marriage Portrait. And what better place to do the review in Cinque Terre. I forgot about the name of the town, I'm going to put it here. But yes, it's the story of the marriage portrait is located, half of it is located in Florence, the other half is in Ferrara. I know this is Cinque Terre, it's neither of those places, but at least it's in the same country, so I guess it's all right. Okay, without further ado, let's dig into the book. So Maggie O'Farrell, she is a really gifted writer. Her previous book, Hamlet, was about Shakespeare's son and his wife, and that novel won the 2000, I think, or 2001 Women's Prize, fictional prize. Her recent one, The Marriage Portrait, was the runner-up for the 2023 Women's Fiction Award, second only to the Demon and Copperhead. So the story is based, very interesting style, because the story opened up with Lucrezia, who is the Duchess of Ferrara, and her husband took her to this country retreat, but in fact it's a fortress, and she sat down with her husband to their evening meal, and she has an epiphany almost that her husband wants to kill her. So this is not a spoiler, because that is literally the first thing she said located in the first chapter. And then the story really starts to writing from that moment on back to the beginning of her life. You know, how she was, so the writer took a chapter to describe how she was conceived. That makes her very different to all her other siblings. So it's very interesting to see her parents' perspective on why their fourth daughter was the way she was. So that's quite interesting from their perspective. And then he moves on. The story starts to letting us know about her relationship with her father, with her mother, and also with her other siblings. She's very bright, easily the brightest out of all these siblings. But unfortunately, her intelligence was overlooked again and again by her parents. She's a very gifted painter, and in fact that's perhaps her most passionate hobby in her life, and that talent shines throughout the story. It makes part of that story. It's not just a passing remark, but it's very important part of that whole story. So anyway, so the story develops, progresses, and we see Lucrezia growing up. Again, the family relationship plays a very important dynamic throughout the plot line, and it starts to tell us how she gets to marry Alfonso, her husband, who was the Duke of Ferrara. By accident. She wasn't going to marry him, but it's just pure accident, and that really was unfortunate for her. Then the story really develops into the relationship between her and her husband. There's no love there. She was only 15, so she doesn't really know what love is, to be honest, at that age. She was incredibly inexperienced. She didn't know what to expect. She just felt really unhappy when they moved out of Florence. But the story develops about the marriage, and it was not a happy one. Alfonso, on the surface, looks very presentable, very intelligent and polite, but there is something really sinister, really dark just beneath the surface. If you dig in a little deeper, the way that he never raises his voice when he was angry, but nevertheless you will know he was angry because the language being used, it's really well done, and it just makes you scared. I mean, I'm reading that book and I'll try to be in Lucrezia's shoe, and I wonder how she deals with it, to be honest. Her husband, the Duke, plays a quintessential role in this novel, and he was not a happy character, although you can't see it from the surface. You know what I mean? When someone who is, you know he's angry, but he's not showing, and therefore it makes it even more scary. And he was that. And there was a scene where, I don't want to spoil it for you, but he killed someone quite important in the story. You're gonna have to read it and find out. And it's brutal, and the way he does it, completely merciless. It's just this character is very sinister. Let me put it that way. So it's all about Lucrezia's dealing with him, or how she copes to be with him. It's very, very interesting. So on the notes on the writing itself, I don't know if you have read Maggie O'Farrell's other books. She's incredibly gifted writer, very lyrical, the sentence. There are a few highlights. I'm going to read it to you. It's just incredibly well done. I mean, reading her, you feel this envy and wishing you could be. Doesn't matter, you got the feeling that it doesn't matter how many books you read, you can't be at her level anytime soon. But let me read you a couple of highlighted notes. We might as well enjoy the view while I read the highlights to you. So the first one is, her mother's words fall about her like ash descending from the sky. And the other one is, death has come for her. It is knocking at her door. It is sliding its finger through the keyhole. It is searching for a way past the lock. Incredible. The fever still clings to her as misty fingers on the surface of a lake. That's just incredible. The swaying light from the candle, which finds its echo in the jewels about the ladies' necks, in their rings, on the hilts of the men's weapons. That is perhaps my favorite sentence out of all of this. Just describing the reflected light of a candle as an echo. That's audacious and incredibly artistic. So yeah, so those were just some examples of her incredible writings. Overall, I think the book is absolutely incredible. So I haven't read the Demon Copperhead, so I can't really comment on whether or not that book is particularly better than this one. I'm intending to read the Demon Copperhead and find out for you, but that was the winner for the 2023 Women's Fiction Prize. So yes, I'm going to read that one and find out. But yes, what do I think about this book? It's absolutely 5-star. Even if you don't like the story itself, you got to read this just to appreciate the poetry of the novel. Incredible writing. I absolutely love it. But yeah, I'm not going to tell you what the ending is like, because it is quite surprising. So I want you to maintain that sense of enjoyment, that sense of surprise. But I highly recommend that book. It is incredible writing. Just another note on the style itself. So the couple of things. The first really annoys me a little bit is that she jumps. So when I said in the beginning of the review that it starts from the present, goes back to the past, well, that's not exactly correct. It jumps in the past. So, and because that jump, and frequently that jump of time period is over a year or maybe over a 5-year period, and that just, at least for me, is a little bit confusing. I have to flick back to see the year and compare it to the previous chapter to see where am I at in terms of timeline. So that is a little bit confusing from my perspective. The other thing is that the chapters varies in length incredibly so. Some of the chapters are 150 pages long and some of them like 10 pages. So be prepared for that, because if you're going to come across a chapter that's 150 pages long, it almost feels as if there's no chapters at all. So it can be a little bit tiring, so you need to find a break for yourself. But yeah, other than that, other than the timeline and the chapter length, the variation of it, at least, it's a little, the downside of the book, other than that, it's just incredible. I really enjoyed it. It's a big book. I think it's over 400 pages long, and it took me around about 5 days to actually finish it. But yeah, as I said before, read this book and just enjoy the poetry of the writing. And plus, I think this book, no, I don't think, I know that this book is based on a real story as well. So Maggie O'Farrell has this incredible ability to elaborate, you know, histories and bring histories to life to us in the present day, like she did with Hamlet. It's just incredible. And I really appreciate that. I can't wait for her next book. But yes, that's it for this episode. I'm sweating. The Italian sun is killing me. It's so hot, and it's early September, so it's expected. So please give us a like and subscribe. It really helps. So that can help me to motivate me, at least go on to more trips like this and do more book reviews in the location where the story is based in. Anyway, cheerio.